Valentino Nii Noi Nortey on Sunday won the New Patriotic Primaries in the Korle-Klottey constituency and will represent the New Patriotic Party in the 2016 parliamentary election. With an overwhelming 393 votes, Nii Noi Nortey won the election that was marred with chaos and boycotts by lawyer Philip Addison and NHIA, with the latter picking the third position for a third-time opportunity after losing on two different occasions to the ruling NDC. Primaries in the Korle-Klottey constituency have been delayed due to petitions by some party executives and delegates within the constituency. Here are some sounds we picked from the constituency during the process.
Primaries in the Korle-Klottey constituency have been delayed due to petitions by some party executives and delegates within the constituency. Constituency and the Greater Accra regional executives of the party in a crunch meeting came out with a communication that clearly stated the elections will be held on August 8. Some of the delegates, especially those on the side of Addison and NHIA, were present at the party headquarters not to vote but to stop the polls. Not even the invisible forces of the New Patriotic Party and the police officers could stop the violent youth from clashing with the police. This delegate, who the police described as a nuisance, was arrested for fomenting trouble at the scene. Events leading to the elections, to say the least, were chaotic, with delegates threatening mayhem. Then lawyer Philip Addison came out with this declaration.
We know nothing about the accreditation process. The accreditation process and the ballot papers and everything to do with these elections have been handled by agents of only one of the aspirants. I thought it fit to come out to tell you, my teaming supporters, that we are all standing firm. There will be no elections today.
After all the brouhaha, the election finally took place. So I asked lawyer Philip Addison what he makes of the fact that his declaration has been overturned.
It's just one side, to the exclusion of two of us, myself and NHIA. So that is what you're seeing here. It's a one-sided election.
You say it's cooked to favor one candidate?
Absolutely. It is overcooked, I must say. Everything has been cooked to favor. We have not taken part in any of the processes. And my attention has been drawn to the fact that even the register being used is the wrong register.
NHIA, who has failed on two occasions on the tickets of the New Patriotic Party and lost to the National Democratic Congress, was in tune with lawyer Philip Addison.
We were told the General Secretary was coming to sit in a meeting with all the aspirants and the constituency. As I speak, the General Secretary has still not arrived, but he's been communicating with some people on the telephone, and he has given the order that the elections should go ahead.
So you allow your delegates to vote?
No, we are not partaking in them.
A frustrated patron who could not find his name in the register could not hide his anger.
Yes, we blame Kwabena Japan. Kwabena Japan is for NDC. He's working for John Dramani Mahama.
The election, which was marred with perceived irregularities, ended with Valentino Nii Noi Nortey winning with 393 votes as against 22 for disgruntled Philip Addison, with Samuel NHIA polling 19 votes. Valentino Nii Noi Nortey called on the losers to join him win power from the NDC in the 2016 general election.
I would like to call upon my colleagues and my elder brothers, lawyer Philip Addison and Honorable NHIA, to all come and join this ship. Let us think about the party first.
Latif Idris, Joy News, Accra.
Now let's stay on the subject a bit longer. Joining me in the studio now is Latif Idris, my colleague who covered the primaries over the weekend. Latif, why was there so much confusion, so much disagreement surrounding these primaries?
Yeah, to say the least, you know, since there yesterday, very chaotic scenes. And you just heard from NPP, is one of the constituency executives. Actually, he's a former chairman of the constituency. And he is one of the executives who could not find their names in the album that was used yesterday. Apparently, the constituency executives and then the national executives were in a meeting somewhere last week to decide on the date for the election. And the conclusion was that the elections will be held on August 8th, which is next week, Saturday. Then on Friday, they also had a communication, according to Philip Addison and NHIA, that's indicated that elections should be held, should go on Saturday, on Sunday, that was yesterday. So most of them didn't get this message across to their respective delegates who had traveled, some out of the country, some to other places to engage in their own businesses. And then, so they said, okay, then let's go to the grounds and stop this election. So most of them were, exactly, they were there not to vote, but to stop the whole process because they do not believe in the declaration of the General Secretary of the party saying that elections should go on.
What efforts did they put in? Because, I mean, essentially, they went there to stop the elections,
process,
but the process went ahead in spite of that. What efforts did they put in trying to stop the process?
They, Philip Addison and NHIA were in a very crunch meeting with the executives at the party headquarters. This meeting lasted for like 30 to 45 minutes. It was not conclusive. At that point, then Philip Addison came out to announce to his team in delegates that there would be no elections because as at that point, they still hadn't come to any conclusion. They were waiting for the General Secretary of the party, Kwabena Agyapong, to come and then sit in the meeting. He never showed up. That was the point where they decided that, okay, then we are going to boycott the whole process, which they ended, doing, yeah.
But how about the delegates themselves? What was the reaction from the delegates?
Yeah, the delegates were listening to their candidates. So when NHIA also came out later on to announce the same thing as Philip Addison. After that, most of them left the scene. Some of them stayed. Those who stayed voted for their candidates. That's how come Philip Addison and NHIA scored very low mark. You know, they had 22 and 19 respectively, which is very, very, very sad, result for them, to say the least.
The interpretation for some of the candidates is the fact that the election, like we heard lawyer Philip Addison say that the election had been overcooked. For one person.
Yeah, so like I was saying, 10 constituency executives could not find their names in the album. So all of them, now later on, I spoke to the EC, and what she told me was that, yes, their names are not in the register, but they are making provisions for them. So after an hour, I went back to her and she told me she's received communication from above, national headquarters, which has given them the go-ahead to allow these 10 constituency executives to go ahead and vote. But in the original register, their names were not in there. But then, due to consultations and whatever happened, they were allowed to vote. But you just heard from entry, he said he will not vote. So he discredited the whole process from start to finish. He didn't vote.
Were some people picked up by the police?
Exactly. We had a young man who was whipped. He was flogged because the police described him as a troublemaker. He was fermenting trouble all over. So they picked him up and then whipped him. Finally, they had to take him out. And in the process, most of the teaming delegates tried to stop the police from picking up this guy. But the police managed to, do away with this guy. And finally, they brought
Let's talk about the winner. Was the winner perturbed by, the accusations and concerns the other candidates were putting across as the event being unfair?
No, he didn't make the points. After the EC had declared him the winner, he was trying to bring all of them together. In his acceptance speech, he said he wants Philip Addison, NHIA, come together, come help me, let's take power from the NDC. But I tell you what, he has a very huge task ahead because now there's a deep crack within the constituency. Now they say Kwabena Agyapong, the General Secretary, worked in the interest of Nii Noi. So followers of NHIA and then Philip Addison are not going to take, according to, I spoke to someone, they said they are not going to vote for Nii Noi if he turned out the winner,
if he's endorsed,
which has now been the case.
But are we seeing the unhappy candidates take action?
That is
maybe with the party.
Going forward, we see if they are going to take part, going to join forces with Nii Noi, or they are going to stay away from Nii Noi and let him go solo and see if he can win power. Because, NHIA has gone for 2 times. He's lost to NDC. And now there's a new guy who has come on. We don't know if he has something different under his sleeves.
We'd have to see how the day goes and how the NPP or the unhappy candidates handle this. Thank you very much, Latif. Latif introduces me, keeping us abreast with happenings of last weekend's Korle Klotey NPP primaries. Let's move on to the health sector. The National Health Insurance Authority is entreating all card holders who may be turned away from public health facilities to visit any of the credentialed private faith-based hospitals and clinics to access healthcare services. The statement follows the July 30 strike by medical doctors in the public sector and their ongoing engagement with the government on their conditions of service. The statement explains that NHIS card holders are not only eligible in government hospitals but can be used in the over 1,000 accredited private and faith-based healthcare facilities in the country. It adds that card holders may also access healthcare at 37 military and police hospitals in Accra and the many health centers and community-based health planning and services CHIPS compounds, that is, across the country. This arrangement is to ensure that subscribers of the NHIS continue to access healthcare services while the GMA's negotiations with government and strike persist. But let's digest this further, how sustainable this is, especially when in the past these private facilities have complained about not being paid for claims made. Salam Adonu is a communications manager of the National Health Insurance Authority, and he's joined me over the telephone. Hello, Salam. Well, I think we lost Salom there. We'll fix that challenge with the phone line and bring back the story. In the meantime, let's talk about something else, where the Upper East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. John Awuno Williams, is urging the National Health Insurance Authority to adopt a regional focus in the implementation of guidelines in the provisions of its services. Dr. Awuno Williams explains this will enable the authority to better address unique challenges at the local level. We bring you a report from our Upper East Regional correspondent, Albert Sorry.
Speaking at the mid-year performance review of the NHIA in Bolgatanga, Dr. Awuno Williams said it was necessary to hold regular all-inclusive discussions on policies with the involvement of client.
In Upper East Region, what we're trying to do with this new direction is that we want to have regular discussions. We want the scheme to be working, or the authority to be working within the national guidelines, but with a regional focus, meaning that what might pertain in Upper East could be different from what pertain in Brown Half or Ashanti, for instance. And so we must be using the opportunity to address the local challenges that the scheme faces. In all those discussions, we have always left out the client. And so the client is there and is being misinformed, even of his or her rights.
He called for transparency in the processes of the payment of claims to healthcare providers and appropriate coordination between the insurance authority and the Ghana Health Service in the operations of the scheme.
We talked about that. We also talked about the rate of reimbursement and the disconnect between information flow from provider-client scheme. So how much are you paying? When are you paying? How much do you owe us? You know, we talk about clinical audits, where some decision of clinical audit has been quite unilateral. You know, if you are coming to audit my facility, you need to engage me so that we do the audit together. You can't just walk and say, I've audited, and therefore this is what I'm paying you. The lack of that transparency and coordination is creating a problem, because you have a facility that is saying that, look, NHIA owes me 100,000. So that's what I'm expecting. By the time the vetting is done, they bring you 60,000 Ghana cedis, and that is what we can pay. It can't be like that.
The current total number of NHIS registered members in the Upper East region as of June 2015 is 338,882, representing 63% of the target for this year. The Gatanga and Boko municipalities and the Talensi Nabdam satellite offices have so far achieved beyond 70% of their membership target for 2015. The Upper East Regional Director of the NHIA, Sebastian Alangpolins, said the district officers have been well positioned to meet 2015 targets and are registering school children and indigents across the region.
So far, they provided 3 district officers with vehicles. That is Navungu, and going forward, the authority intends providing them with the rest of them with new vehicles, preferably towards the end of the year. And I also commented on the issue of co-payment. You know, it's not allowed. It is our terms of agreement did not permit our service providers to do co-payment under the health insurance scheme.
He encouraged district managers to meet their targets in order to prevent the negative impact of poor healthcare delivery in the region.
You're watching Joy News Desk. There's more to come here. Please stay.